Santorini greets us at sunset, when the sky melts into gold and rose, and the sea becomes a mirror of light. The island rises from the Aegean like a dream. Whitewashed houses stacked along cliffs, glowing as though the sun itself had touched each wall. Blue domes curve softly against the horizon, their shapes simple, their color deep, holding the last rays of day like cups of sky. The air carries the faint salt of the sea below. Waves roll against the caldera, their rhythm steady, timeless, as though they have been singing the same lullaby for centuries. Above, gulls drift slowly, their wings glinting in fading light, their cries softened by distance until they sound less like calls and more like whispers carried on the wind. We walk a narrow path of stone, winding along the cliffside. Lanterns begin to flicker to life along terraces, their glow warm against the white walls. Candles are lit in small alcoves, flames trembling in the breeze. The village feels as though it is exhaling, letting the busy hours of day fall away, surrendering itself to the calm of night. Bougainvillea spills down from balconies, its blossoms bright even in twilight. Magenta against indigo sky, a splash of life against whitewashed calm. Their petals stir in the breeze, brushing softly against walls, leaving faint shadows that sway like lace. The sun hangs low now, resting upon the sea. It stretches its reflection across the water, a golden path leading straight to the horizon. Boats drift upon it, their sails catching the last light, their outlines turning to silhouettes as the glow deepens. Each one moves slowly, unhurried, as though they too are part of the island's rhythm. From a nearby terrace, we hear the sound of laughter, soft, easy, unforced. Glasses clink, a guitar strums faintly, a voice hums a tune that drifts across the air. It blends with the hush of waves, with the call of birds, with the rustle of the wind. Everything belongs, nothing intrudes. Santorini at sunset feels like a pause, a moment suspended. The world holds its breath. The sky glows brighter. The sea grows softer. The houses shine with borrowed light. For a few precious minutes, the island becomes a lantern itself, holding fire within, glowing against the coming night. The sun touches the water now. Its circle breaks, dissolving into colors that spread wide across the sea. Orange melts into rose, rose into violet, violet into deep blue. The houses reflect these shades, shifting with each moment, becoming first gold, then pink, then soft silver as dusk takes hold. The path narrows as we climb higher. A windmill turns slowly, its sails creaking gently in the breeze. Its form is familiar, yet here at dusk it feels like a sentinel, watching the sea, keeping time with the turning of the world. Its shadow stretches long across the path, a quiet reminder of history and patience. Candles glow brighter now. Lanterns burn steadier. Windows shine softly, their light spilling onto the stone, guiding our way. The village breathes with us, its pace unhurried, its silence filled with warmth. And so, as the last line of sun sinks below the horizon, Santorini gathers itself into the embrace of night. The sea shimmers with fading color. The cliffs glow faintly, and the sky opens wide to stars. It is not an ending, but a transformation. Day becoming dream, island becoming lullaby. Tonight, we walk with Santorini as it carries us into calm. Santorini's beauty is built from contrasts: stone and sky, white and blue, shadow and flame. As we wander the narrow paths, the island reveals its architecture like a poem, each line steady, each word glowing with light. The houses cling to the cliffs, stacked one upon the other, their white walls gleaming in the last light of sunset. From afar, they appear like a cascade of shells, spilled gently down the slope toward the sea. Their edges are softened by curves, their walls rounded by time, their surfaces washed smooth by generations of wind and salt. The domes of the churches rise above them, painted in blue so deep it feels like a fragment of sky pulled down to earth. Against the fading rose of sunset, the domes glow softly, their crosses outlined in silhouette. Standing before one, you feel both the vastness of the horizon and the intimacy of the village, gathered together under the same sky. Pathways wind through the houses, narrow and uneven, paved with stone that shines faintly under lantern light. Steps rise and fall, curving with the cliffside, leading to terraces that open suddenly to vast views of the sea. At each turn, the horizon waits, wide and endless, as though reminding us that the island is both small and infinite, a speck of earth and a gateway to eternity. Bougainvillea spills from balconies, its blossoms glowing magenta against white walls. Vines of ivy climb stairways, their leaves trembling in the evening breeze. Clay pots line windowsills, holding basil, mint, or bright geraniums, their fragrance drifting softly into the air. Each detail is small, yet together they form a harmony of color and texture, a quiet balance between nature and stone. Above, a windmill stands tall, its sails turning slowly against the violet sky. Once used to grind grain, now it turns as a reminder of patience, its shadow stretching across the houses like the arm of time itself. Watching it turn feels like listening to an old story, steady and unhurried, carrying the rhythm of countless evenings. Terraces open like small stages, each one with its own lanterns, its own view of the caldera. Some are draped in curtains that flutter in the breeze, their fabric catching the last light. Others hold simple wooden tables, glasses of wine glowing ruby in the dusk. From these terraces, voices drift softly, laughter blending with the sound of waves below. Never loud, always gentle, always part of the island's song. The sea itself is architecture here. It curves around the island, filling the horizon, shaping every view. At sunset, it holds the sky like a mirror, shifting from gold to rose to indigo, carrying each color across its surface as though painting with light. Boats drift upon it, their sails silver and twilight, their wakes dissolving quickly into stillness. The cliffs descend sharply into the water, their stone dark against the glowing sea. Shadows gather in their crevices, yet lanterns from the houses above reflect upon them faintly, casting soft patterns that seem almost alive. The cliffs feel both strong and gentle, like guardians of the island's dreams. Everywhere, light and shadow play together. A candle flickers against a curved wall, its glow creating halos across white plaster. A lantern hangs above a doorway, its brass frame throwing stars across the stone. The moon begins to rise, silvering the domes and roofs, adding its own light to the island's quiet glow. The architecture of Santorini is not only what is built, but what is left open. Space for sky, space for sea, space for dreams. And as the night grows deeper, the island gathers itself into stillness, preparing to offer not just shelter, but serenity. Santorini at sunset does not rush. The island moves with the same patience as the sea, steady and unhurried, letting the evening unfold like a long exhale. Along the narrow lanes, voices drift softly. Locals greet one another with words carried gently through the air, their tones low and warm, like the murmur of waves against stone. Tourists stroll slowly, their footsteps light, pausing often to gaze at the horizon, to breathe the salted wind, to linger at terraces where the glow of lanterns begins to bloom. From tavernas tucked into cliffside corners comes the sound of laughter. It is not loud, not intrusive, but soft, as though the walls themselves absorb it, holding it in memory. The clink of glasses follows, wine poured and shared in toasts that echo like blessings. A guitar strums faintly in one corner, its strings catching the rhythm of the sea, its notes rising just enough to join the hum of the village without breaking the stillness. Whisper. The air carries a blend of scents: grilled fish seasoned with lemon, bread warm from the oven, olives bathed in oil and herbs. These aromas drift outward from kitchens, mingling with the fragrance of sea spray, bougainvillea blossoms, and the faint sweetness of honey cooling on pastries. The island breathes through its flavors, exhaling a perfume that is both nourishing and comforting. On terraces overlooking the caldera, candles glow beside plates of food. Couples lean close, their voices hushed, their laughter woven into the night like threads of silver. Families share bowls of salad, passing bread from hand to hand, their gestures unhurried, their moments held gently by the hour. There is no rush here. Meals stretch into evening, becoming not only sustenance but ritual, a way of being together beneath the sky. As we move through the village, the sound of sandals upon stone becomes part of the atmosphere. The rhythm is steady, unhurried, blending with the murmur of waves below. Even the footsteps feel softened by dusk, their echoes rounded, their pace slowed, as though the island itself whispers, "There is no need to hurry. Rest is already here." From a balcony, a child's laughter rings out, brief and bright. It fades quickly, swallowed by the hush of the night, yet it leaves behind a trace of joy, like a spark glowing faintly in the dark. Somewhere else, an old man hums to himself as he waters a row of basil plants, his voice carrying the cadence of an old song, a tune that seems to belong to the island as much as the cliffs and sea. Musicians gather quietly in a square. A lute joins the guitar, its notes deeper, more resonant, while a violin slides softly above them, its voice plaintive yet soothing. The music is not performance, but atmosphere. It drifts outward, settling on terraces, winding down alleys, carried by the breeze until it feels as though the entire island is humming the same tune.
The waves below add their own rhythm. They strike against the base of the cliffs, rolling in and out, steady, eternal. Sometimes louder, sometimes softer, always patient. Their voice mingles with the music, with the laughter, with the footsteps and conversations. Together, they form a lullaby, not written, not rehearsed, but lived, breathed, shared. From a church nearby, bells toll softly, their sound rounded by distance. They do not mark urgency, but presence. Their notes drift over the rooftops, echoing briefly, then fading into the sea. Each tone feels like a reminder to pause, to listen, to breathe. Shh. Santorini at dusk is not a place of spectacle, but of blending. Every sound belongs. Every movement joins the rhythm. The island does not divide voices from waves, music from silence, light from shadow. It lets them merge, flow together, become one. The sky darkens fully now, stars appearing one by one. They glimmer faintly at first, then brighter, as though answering the lanterns below. From our terrace, it feels as though the earth and sky are speaking to one another. The village glowing upward, the heavens glowing downward. A quiet dialogue carried through the night. To stand here is to feel wrapped in presence. The sea, the voices, the music, the stars. None of it loud, none of it hurried. All of it part of the same breath, the same heartbeat, the same lull. And so, as we listen, as we breathe, as we watch the island soften into shadow and glow, we realize that Santorini is not asking us to do anything. It only asks us to be, to rest, to observe, to drift with it into night.
The atmosphere of Santorini is not only carried by its light and sea, but by its flavors. As evening settles, the island begins to nourish itself gently, unhurriedly through the act of sharing food. From the tavernas along the cliffside, the scent of grilled fish drifts outward, mingling with the salted breeze. Freshly caught from the Aegean, the fish sizzles over open flames, brushed with olive oil and sprinkled with herbs gathered from rocky hillsides. The aroma is both sharp and soothing, lemon zest brightening the air, oregano and thyme grounding it, smoke wrapping it all in warmth. Plates of olives glisten in shallow bowls, their skins dark and glossy. Some are steeped in oil, shimmering with rosemary sprigs. Others are marinated with lemon peel, their flavor sharp and clean. To taste them is to taste the island itself, salty, briny, kissed by sun and sea. On wooden tables, baskets of bread arrive, still warm from stone ovens. The crust crackles under touch, the inside soft and fragrant, carrying the faint sweetness of wheat. Dipped into golden oil pressed from local groves, it becomes not only food, but comfort, a ritual as old as the land. Bowls of salad glow in lantern light, tomatoes ripened under sun, cucumbers crisp and cool, feta cheese crumbled like snow across their surface. Olive oil drizzles slowly over them, pooling at the bottom, carrying flavor into every bite. The simplicity of it is its gift. Nothing hidden, nothing rushed, only the freshness of earth and sky shared upon the table. Wine glows in glasses, ruby and gold. It catches the last threads of sunset, reflecting them into the night. Poured slowly, it carries the history of the island's soil, volcanic earth that holds both fire and memory. A sip spreads warmth, rich and smooth, leaving behind notes of fruit and stone. To drink it feels less like consumption and more like communion, a quiet joining with the rhythm of the island. Dessert appears not as indulgence, but as blessing. Bowls of yogurt, thick and cool, topped with honey that glistens under lanterns. The honey flows slowly, golden and soft, pooling into the yogurt like sunlight captured in liquid form. Sometimes walnuts are added, their crunch grounding the sweetness, their presence humble yet perfect. One spoonful is enough to carry the taste of evening, smooth and comforting, both light and lingering. Elsewhere, small pastries shine with syrup, their layers delicate, their filling of nuts and spice revealed only in gentle bites. The syrup clings to fingertips, sticky and sweet, yet easily licked away with a smile. They are not meant to be eaten quickly, but savored, one bite at a time. Each one a pause, a sigh, a quiet joy. Tea is poured too, not the mint of Marrakesh, but herbal blends drawn from the island's own hillsides. Chamomile, sage, mountain herbs that grow in stone and sun. Their fragrance is soft, calming, earthy. The steam drifts upward, carrying the scent of hillside winds into the night air.
Food here is not only sustenance, it is a thread woven into the island's lullaby. Fish sizzling like a song, olives shining like stars, bread cracking like firewood, honey flowing like sunlight. Each taste is part of the same rhythm, each bite another step into calm. As the night deepens, meals linger. There is no rush to finish, no pressure to move on. Plates empty slowly, glasses refill quietly, conversations weave in and out like waves. The food does not demand attention, it offers it. Each flavor grounding the body, softening the mind, preparing the heart for rest. Santorini's food is simple, yet within its simplicity lies its beauty. It does not overwhelm, it soothes, it comforts, it nourishes in the gentlest of ways. And so, with each sip of wine, each bite of bread, each spoon of honeyed yogurt, we are carried deeper into the embrace of night. As Santorini softens into night, its people move with a rhythm as calm as the sea itself. Their presence becomes part of the island's lullaby, every gesture another note in the evening song. Along the pathways, locals wear light linen garments, their fabric loose and flowing, designed not for display, but for comfort in the island's warmth. White shirts glow faintly under lantern light. Trousers ripple softly in the breeze. The fabric moves as they move, swaying like sails upon the sea.
Women stroll through the lanes, dresses flowing with the wind, the hems brushing against stone steps. Some dresses are plain, in shades of ivory or sand. Others carry patterns, stripes of blue, blossoms of crimson, touches of gold, catching lantern glow with every movement. Scarves drape lightly over shoulders, their fabric sheer, fluttering as though carrying secrets in the air. Their elegance is unforced, born of stillness rather than effort. Tourists wander quietly, their clothing blending into the palette of the island. Light shirts, wide-brimmed hats, sandals tapping softly on stone, Cameras hang loose, often forgotten, as eyes drift toward the horizon, toward the sea glowing under the last threads of sun. Their movements are slow, reverent, as though aware they are walking not just through streets, but through a dream unfolding. Fishermen return at dusk, their nets folded over shoulders, their skin bronzed by sun, and their eyes steady and calm. Their boats rock gently in the caldera below, their work set aside as night arrives. They move with ease, with patience, with the rhythm of lives measured not by hours, but by tides. Children dart across small courtyards, their laughter bright yet brief, fading quickly into the stillness of evening. They chase one another between white walls, their sandals clapping lightly against stone. One pauses to pick a fallen blossom of bougainvillea, holding it aloft before letting it drift again into the breeze. Their joy feels like starlight, brief, scattered, but illuminating everything around it. At tavernas, waiters in crisp shirts and aprons move gracefully between tables. Their steps are steady, their trays balanced with ease, their smiles quiet and sincere. They bow their heads slightly as they set down a plate, their gestures carrying a rhythm that feels less like service and more like ritual. Each movement, each word is softened by the island's pace. Fashion here is not about adornment, but about harmony. Linen and cotton, dresses and scarves, hats and sandals, all chosen not to stand out, but to blend with air, with sea, with light. The people of Santorini dress as though they are part of the island's architecture, their fabric as much a part of the scenery as white walls and blue domes. On terraces, couples lean close, their faces glowing in candlelight. A man adjusts the scarf draped across his partner's shoulders, tucking it gently into place. A woman brushes wind-blown hair from her companion's brow. These gestures are small, almost invisible, yet in them lies tenderness, the kind that turns a moment into memory. Musicians, too, carry fashion into the night. A violinist's black shirt reflects the lantern glow in soft sheen, his bow hand steady, his body swaying lightly with each note. A guitarist wears a sash of deep red, its ends fluttering as his fingers dance across strings. Their clothing does not command attention, yet it deepens the music, adding another layer of harmony to the night. Together, the people of Santorini form a living tapestry. Locals in linen, women in flowing dresses, fishermen in weathered cloth, children in playful scarves, tourists in wide-brim hats, each thread woven into the larger fabric of dusk. The island does not separate them. It allows all to belong, all to glow under the same lantern light, all to move within the same rhythm. And as we watch, we realize that fashion here is less about what is worn and more about how it moves, softly, gently, always in tune with the island's breath. And so, as night gathers, the people of Santorini fade into silhouettes, their forms blending with white walls, their movements dissolving into shadow. Yet their presence remains, woven into the fabric of the island, carried forward by the sea, the stars, and the slow turning of the windmill above. Santorini does not live only in stone and sea. It lives also in stories, whispered through waves, painted in sunsets, carried in the hush of night, whisper. Some say this island was once part of a great kingdom, a place so rich and radiant that it seemed almost divine. Then, in a single moment, the sea rose and claimed it, leaving only fragments behind. To some, these fragments are Santorini, a reminder of Atlantis, a city lost to time, yet alive in legend. Whether true or not, the island carries the weight of the tale, its cliffs like broken walls, its sea like a mirror hiding secrets. As the sun sets, you can almost imagine that glow as a blessing from the gods, the daily promise that beauty, though fleeting, is eternal. The people of Santorini do not chase this myth. They let it drift like the tide, present but not heavy, a story folded gently into the rhythm of evening. Sailors tell of the sea carrying messages between islands. A voice spoken at dusk, they say, may ride upon the water, reaching shores unseen. Perhaps it is imagination, perhaps only the echo of waves, but the thought lingers, comforting, that the sea itself may be a messenger of longing and love. The windmills hold their own quiet folklore. Turning steadily, they are said to whisper to sailors at sea, their creaks and groans carried by the wind. Some believe that if you listen closely at night, the sound of a windmill is a prayer for safe passage, for calm waters, for return. To hear it while watching the horizon is to feel the presence of countless journeys, each one guided by sails and stars. Children hear simpler tales. They are told that when the sea glows pink at sunset, it is because the gods have dipped their brushes into the horizon, painting blessings across the water. To stand in that light, they believe, is to be kissed by fortune, to carry the glow within long after the sun has gone. There is a story, too, of the caldera itself, the great basin that cradles the sea. Some say it is the mark of fire, the memory of a volcano that once shook the earth. But in legend, it is described not as destruction, but as creation, a cup carved by the gods to hold the sea, to keep it close, to let it shimmer eternally under the sky. When the moon reflects upon it, the caldera becomes a bowl of silver, a gift offered each night to the heavens. And then there is the simplest story, told not in words, but in silence, that every sunset is its own myth, no two alike, no two repeated, each one a fleeting wonder, fading as quickly as it arrives, yet always returning, always promised. It is said that to witness a sunset in Santorini is to receive a reminder that beauty does not need to last forever to be complete. The storytellers of Santorini are not only poets or elders, they are the fishermen who recalled winds that shifted just in time, the women who speak of blossoms that refuse to fade, the children who believe that stars fall into the sea each night and return by dawn. These stories are not told with urgency. They drift like incense smoke, rising gently, fading slowly, lingering long enough to comfort. And so, as the night deepens and lanterns glow brighter, we carry these tales with us. Atlantis lost and perhaps found, messages whispered across waves, windmills praying for sailors, gods painting sunsets across the horizon. Each one belongs not only to the past, but to the present moment, folded into the hush of the evening. They are not tales to trouble the mind. They are soft anchors, reminders that mystery itself can soothe, that the unknown can be gentle. In Santorini, stories are not separate from life. They are part of the sea, part of the cliffs, part of the sky. To listen is to rest. To believe is to dream. To drift with them is to find peace.
The sun has gone now, its last glow folded into the horizon. Santorini rests beneath a sky of indigo, its houses glowing like pearls, its domes silvered by moonlight. Lanterns flicker along terraces, their flames steady, their light soft. The night belongs not to noise, but to stillness. We sit upon a terrace overlooking the caldera. The sea stretches wide below, dark and endless, yet shimmering faintly with the memory of sunset. The cliffs curve around it like an embrace, holding the water, holding the night. In the distance, a boat drifts slowly, its lantern glowing like a star fallen to the surface of the sea. The air is cool now, carrying salt and blossom, a mixture both sharp and sweet. Each breath feels cleansing, each exhale a release. The waves below murmur steadily, their rhythm unbroken, their voice eternal. To listen is to feel the body soften, the mind loosen, the heart rest. Candles glow upon the table before us, their flames trembling gently in the breeze. A glass of wine catches their light, turning ruby, then gold, then deepening to shadow. Bread rests in a basket, olives gleam in a bowl, honey clings to a spoon. The meal has ended, but its memory lingers, like warmth carried within. Above us, the stars arrive in full, scattered across the sky with careless beauty. They shimmer faintly at first, then brighter, reflected faintly in the sea below. The island glows upward, the heavens glow downward, and between them we sit suspended, held in the quiet embrace of both earth and sky.
The windmill turns slowly still, its creak softened by distance. It seems to keep time with the waves, with the breath, with the beating of the heart. Each turn feels like a reminder of continuity, of patience, of calm. Around us, the village grows quieter. Voices fade, doors close, lanterns dim. Children's laughter has vanished into dreams. Musicians have put their instruments away, their last notes still drifting in memory. The night becomes simpler, pared down to sea, sky, stone, and flame. Santorini does not hurry you to sleep. It guides you gently, step by step, from color into shadow, from sound into silence, from presence into rest. It asks nothing, demands nothing. It only holds you, steady and soft, like the cliffs holding the sea. We lean back, closing our eyes. The terrace beneath us is cool, the air above warm, the night around infinite. The waves continue their murmur, a lullaby that has lasted centuries. The stars continue their shimmer, steady and calm. The island continues its breath, slow and deep. And so we drift. The lantern light fades. The sea grows darker. The stars grow softer. Thoughts loosen, dissolve, vanish. Sleep arrives not as a visitor, but as part of the night itself, natural and inevitable. May your dreams be as calm as the waves, as radiant as the sunset, as endless as the sky. Santorini rests now. The sea rests. And you too may rest.